Good morning, and it's Keith Hayes with you this morning from a place called Clevedown, which is on the edge of Lewis, down by the prison. No, I'm not in prison, not this morning anyway. Although I teetered it on the edge of going there sometimes, I think. But welcome to Mirador Television, the television where anything goes and anything usually does go, including the camera, often also over tip, because I've knocked it. And the reason that I knock these things and you can't take me anywhere is because I have Parkinson's. And I rabbit on about this, and it's not because I'm looking for sympathy. On the contrary, it's so people will understand it, and not in the headlines, but in the news, is a group called Movers and Shakers, headed by a chap called Selon Jones, and in the group, better known, is Jeremy Paxman, all of whom suffer from Parkinson's, who went to number 10 yesterday and said, "Hey, look here, Gov. It is time that you did rather more for Parkinson's sufferers than you are doing." And I couldn't agree more. Is we, like everybody else, that if we haven't got family accident, we get a bit lonely. And we don't talk about Parkinson's all the time in that company we've chosen. We talk to the outside world, because there is an awful lot. There's an awful lot that people don't appreciate. For instance, it took me half an hour to do my buttons up on my shirt this morning, and I had to have several goes. As I actually fell over, or almost fell over, with trying to tie my shoelaces. It's little things like that that get irritable. Not the fact that you fall over sometimes, you get used to that. But suddenly not being able to do up your shirt, mind you, I suppose if there's a young lady gazing in through my apartment window, is I would want to show my hairy chest. Not a bit of it. The thing about Selon Jones and his group, Movers and Shakers, and about us at Mirador, because we support their role. We support that government should do more about sufferers of Parkinson's, because there ain't no cure. There's nothing to cure it at the moment. It just gets worse and worse and worse, and you have to live with it. So we support urging the government to do more to find out what causes it. That's really the root thing. And Rishi, it's a valid request. It's more than a request, it's a demand. It's totally valid. And to see people pouncing around, protesting that they are worried about civil society and the elements in it, and then seeing the reality, are two totally different things. So get with it and do your job. The reason that I'm broadcasting from home is because I have had in the last 3 or 4 days a spell of falling over. It's the funniest feeling because suddenly you're helpless. You're going and you put your hand out and there's nothing there. Oh dear. And the brain isn't so atrophied that it doesn't say, you better do something about this, mate. You better get cracking. And it enables you to land without hurting yourself unless something gets in the way. And if something gets in the way, you never know whether you're going to crack your head. I mean, I've hit the table, I've hit the back of the shower, you name it. It's been ping pong. and actually, I laugh without mirth, because if I didn't laugh, I would cry. How have I come to this is my query. But having come to it, I have to put the very bravest face on it, and that is laughing at the damn thing. That laughter comes with a price, a cost, because you realize, you focus on the very things which you prefer to forget. But there's no way you can forget it. Believe me, when you've got it, you've got it. And I am exceptionally lucky, because I was going to say that team, my colleagues at Mirador and at the Black Horse and in the United States and in Stoke and in Normandy, my colleagues are all very supportive. They are very kind and very generous with their time. And not everybody is. We don't. No. If you've got Parkinson's, you don't go around looking for sympathy. That's the last thing that you want. But you want acceptance of the fact that when somebody says, let's run for the bus, I'm left trailing in their wake. They get on the bus and they wave to me as they leave. I didn't make it. And sometimes, much as I get along very well with bus drivers, the bus drivers on my route, even when I'm on the Red Devil, often toot the horn when they go past. And one actually shook my hand when I got on the other day to welcome me back to his bus. That's a wonderful feeling. But not all of them are like that. Some of them can be a bit cruel, and they can wait until the door is almost, until you're almost at the door, but not quite, and shut the bloody things and leave you out standing at the bus stop waiting for the next one, which is fine if it's not on a Sunday. But on a Sunday, they only come every half hour, and you miss it by a minute, that's 29 minutes to wait, and sometimes it's a bit more. But anyway, the fact is, we support Parkinson's on this television station, and Sally Jones and Jeremy Paxman are working hard, trying to get through to the government, touch the government, and get them to put a bit in their budget. And that we're here and we're doing our utmost to beat the bloody thing on a day-to-day basis, and work hard to persuade authority to do, or to work as hard as they can to go after a cure. And we also like to think that we, along with Paxman and Jones, and along with others who are sympathetic to Parkinson's, are trying to make the rest of you understand what it's like to live with it. God, I would love to say I'm just an observer. I'd love to say, what's it got to do with me? But I can't. It's with me, and there's not a hell of a lot that can be done, except try to make you all aware we know we're incurable, but what we want is for a bit more recognition, a bit more highlighting of Parkinson's, so that it gains a status that cancer has gained, and to get the results that cancer has got. Oh, that would be absolutely marvelous, absolutely wonderful. Now, I don't think that we have got many people in the studio today, and the studio is my own home. So when you're taking a look, it's not the Black Horse Pub. The telltale giveaway sign is that there's no booze behind me. But you know, yesterday when I was having a real struggle, my colleagues are the first to get on. And not only that, but I know that they all conferred to see what the hell they could do and how to overcome my stubborn streak. But also, whether they were broadcasters or not, and the first man to keep me under observation, as it were, was Declan, landlord of the Black Horse Inn. And it's a marvelous pub. And so, right at the top this morning, I am going to remind you that it has a marvelous pub quiz. Oh, it's fantastic. It really is. Now, it's on at 8 o'clock at night, which is rather later than I can hobble out, shall we say. But I keep close monitors on it. It's one of the better, if not the best, pub quiz anywhere in the country. And it's very popular. And it takes place every second Sunday in the month. So there's one coming up in about 2 weeks' time, and it will be fabulous. And I urge you to go along. Now, there's another event, which is also terrific, and I had to miss this week. It's really upset me. But it's the roast lunch at the Black Horse on Sunday, every Sunday that you can think of, and it is very, very popular. It has 4 roasts, it has little side dishes, it has other things which you can get They say they're not going to actually do the regular menu on a Sunday, but you know, all you've got to do is to look with those appealing eyes of yours into Declan's deep blue eyes and say, Dick, could I get something off the regular menu? And he'll say, hang about, I'll go and talk to the chef. And he'd come back and say, yeah. He's a fantastic bloke. He's dead. Now, oh, come on. I can't get. Oh, there we go. We made it. We made it. We got back to single camera, which is covering me ass. That reminds me of a story out of this industry. I came back from Canada to take over, or be the first actually, head of news for a radio station called BRMB in Birmingham. And I was recruiting, and a gentleman came along, and he was no spring chicken. He wasn't a child, but he had applied, and I had decided to see him. And he had a thick black country accent. Hey, kid, what you doing? And I chatted to him, and he obviously knew his stuff. And I said, have you ever been on the air? Have you ever broadcast? He said, well, me hand was once on the air. I said, what do you mean, me hand? And he said, well, I write the sports results for the BBC on a Saturday afternoon. And he said, I because it's live and ongoing, I have to crawl up and under the camera and put the results on the desk in front of the newsreader. He said, and one time, I mean, I'm sorry, it just makes me laugh thinking about this guy. He got caught with the camera pulling back too slowly, and his hand was caught in shot. I was absolutely fascinated by this guy's knowledge and by his honesty, and I couldn't do anything else but hire him, which I did. And my judgment, as it often is, I may say, about people's broadcasting ability and their intriguing the viewing public. The guy became a fast favorite with the local populace. He was a kid, yeah, and he would say, "Oh, Aston Villa, they've all got frilly knickers down there. Can't kick a football." That sort of thing. Anyway, his name was Tony Butler. Jasper Carrott, the comedian, got hold of the fact that this guy was broadcasting, and Jasper Carrott was exactly the same. He had the black country accent. And Jasper Carrott helped make him famous right throughout the country. And so that was how we recruited in those days, and how we got top talent. They just didn't sound it. You would never, well, it speaks for itself. He was writing results for the BBC, and he ended up as a really famous person in the Midlands. Really famous. So, can't remember why I got onto that particular topic. But anyway, Tony Butler, a name to be revered in broadcasting. He understood the business. And that's the trouble with a lot of people. They think it's just opening their mouths and rabbiting on with a few words. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm not going to waste time giving you a tutorial in broadcasting here this morning, but let me assure you that every one of those successful people are skillful. They know how to do it. They're not just pretty faces and nice voices. Right, it's 25 past. I've been going on about broadcasting and Parkinson's and so on for some time. I suppose you'd like to know what's going on in the news. But shall I give you the... I'll give you the weather, first of all, I think. And we can do rather better than that. There we go. Oh, it's going to be quite warm today. It's going to be 15 degrees. It is going to drizzle a little later. Let's see. It's a gentle breeze. Plenty of sunshine, scattered cloud. Right up until about 3 o'clock. And then it's going to drizzle. And it's going to clear up after an hour. And it's going to scattered cloud. And then the evening is going to be a lovely, lovely day. Wednesday we got thunderstorms, but it's going to be up to 17 degrees. Ooh. Thursday is going to stay at 15. Friday dip a little to 14. It's going to rain on Thursday and Friday, I'm afraid. But clearing up by the weekend. Well, that's not bad at all. No, yes, I'm sorry. I have to lean across. There we go. The newspaper headlines. The Times. Well, now most of the news today is about the implosion, the self-destruction of what was the Scottish National Party. I really think that this stems from the rather nastiness, rather naughtiness that the lady leader demonstrated in the bitterness over not being able to get another Scottish referendum. Gosh, it is. How soon we forget. But no, that's actually, let's not be unkind. That's the Parkinson's causing me a slight loss of memory. I'm not in any way. Well, my brain is rotting, all right, but not with dementia. But I do have some problems occasionally remembering the odd thing, and it will have to. I'll have to have something that jogs my memory. Who was the lady leader of the SNP? Because she undermined the whole thing, and I'm afraid it looks as if it's going to have the result of finishing the whole party. The Times leads on the Scottish National Party lurching into another crisis. Scottish First Minister Humza Yousaf announced his intention to quit the role. The paper also has a photo of the Prince and Princess of Wales released from their private collection to mark their 13th wedding anniversary. It's jolly good. She looks good. They look good together as a couple. Where will he see the monarchy go? Who knows? But I hope that he becomes king, and I hope that his sons become king. Because whether it's unfair that they should have loads of wealth and more or less a life of luxury, they are a handsome couple. But I want to get people to understand that the royals are an integral part of our way of being governed, and it is a hugely successful way. We do not have riots not riots in the way that Buckingham Palace is stormed. That there is a real threat to the ousting of the monarchy. That there is also no real threat to the oligarchs, the House of Lords, or is there a threat to the House of Commons, the people? And that's all because of the way that our leadership is structured. And long may that continue. Republicans, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Most of you have not lived in the way of being governed that you're advocating. So let's go on to the Metro, where it says the Scottish National Party crisis leader quits in tears. But the headline in the Metro is, "You've only got yourself to blame, Yousaf." They thought that the hate and the venom could carry them through, and it can't. You only got yourself, you only got yourself to blame. The Metro quips for its story on the Scottish National Party leader quitting. Ooh, and that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. The Guardian also leads with that story. Yousaf quits as First Minister after a coalition gamble triggers the Scottish National Party crisis. Well, he tried to sort of say to his partners who threatened to quit the coalition is, "Oh, go ahead and do it." Right. He's found out just how rocky politics can be. The Guardian says the Scottish First Minister quitting triggers SNP crisis. It also has a story on the United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying that Hamas is the only thing standing between the people of Gaza and a ceasefire. There you go. There you go. There we go. The Financial Times. It also leads with politics, which is very unusual. It has to be a pretty stormy story for the FT to abandon its principle of dealing with business and commerce. Yousaf triggers turmoil with exit as Scots First Minister. The FT has Yousaf triggers turmoil. It also runs a story on Pedro Sanchez, saying he will stay on as Spain's Prime Minister following the days of speculation over his future. Now, it just shows you how you can fall into the trap. I have been saying on this television station that it is very poor practice to do what I just did. He is going to follow this principle. We don't talk like that. Why should we talk to you like that on television? We shouldn't. We should be ready to do what has proved the most successful way of broadcasting, and that is to talk in a casual, direct, easy way that gets our message across and makes you feel as if you are in conversation. And we should keep to that, stick to that. The Daily Mirror. Aha. Mobility scooter horror. It deviates from it's from everybody on not leading with the Scottish SNP. Career criminal stabs to death an 87-year-old 5 days after leaving jail. Pure evil, it says. Pure evil, as a headline in the Mirror after a man admitted killing an elderly mobility scooter rider in a knife attack 5 days after being released from prison. The Daily Mail. The fall of Humza. Useless. The fall of Huns are useless means independence is dead for a generation. The only legacy of the SNP is decline and decay. That is Andrew Neil commented. All schools warned on extortion epidemic. Foreign gangs are blackmailing hundreds of children over intimate pictures online. The National Crime Agency tells teachers, watch out for a sextortion epidemic. The Mail goes with the UK schools warning pupils against the dangers of extortion, a form of blackmail involving threats that intimate pictures will be shared. It also has an opinion piece from journalist Andrew Neil, who suggests that the cause of Scottish independence is now dead for a generation. Now, this is something that is close to my heart. This question of sexual extortion. When you're in the public eye, as indeed we are, you are open to all sorts of abuse. I mean, the best is trolls having a go at you. And you have to be ready to learn to not get upset by it. But also, I've had this same thing, is somebody who doesn't know me at all and writes, look, I've hacked your computer. I've caught a glimpse of a sexy picture. I'm going to tell the world unless you deposit X amount of money into a such and such a bank by a certain time. And the first reaction is, have I got sexy pictures in? Because actually, the other thing is that first of all, that they're guessing. But secondly, you get all sorts of pictures sent to you as a public figure. Not a major public figure, but a public figure nonetheless. And I am so busy looking after this television station is I quite often think, and I ignore the picture. It just gets stored somewhere until on an occasion that you don't want it to, it pops up. Ooh, look at the stuff that Age has been garnering. And they hope that they're going to frighten you into playing their game. And secondly, to some extent, make an admission that, oh, yes, I do that sort of thing. Well, it doesn't matter whether you do that sort of thing. It's up to you. And it shouldn't matter to anybody else. And these, and very clever too, that send in and so to say that they've snaffled some of your emails and so on and so forth. It's dreadful. Dreadful. But don't fall for it. And if they fabricate one, just stand up to it. There are two things about this. First of all, your good friends will know you well enough that you don't you don't get plastered unjustly. And secondly, is that they'll know whether, in fact, it is you mixing with them. And as I said, it's nothing to do with anybody. I quite like looking at a pretty girl. What's wrong with that? And I'm not a dirty old man. I feel sorry for these people who get trapped in this way. We all have deep down desires, which we don't talk to anybody about. And if these extortionists choose to try and get money or goods, or if it's somebody doesn't like you and tries to discredit you, it's nobody's business but yours, and you stick with it. What some people will get up to, heaven only knows. The Daily Telegraph. Sex is a biological fact. Hey, somebody at long last has been brave enough to say it. And who is that somebody? Somebody who comes in for one hell of a lot of criticism. A hell of a lot. But it's stood the test of time, and that is the NHS. So, a man is a man and a woman is a woman, according to the NHS. And what does that mean? It means that nobody should give a fig about what your sexual preference is, as long as it's not illegal. The Telegraph leads with a story stating that the NHS is to declare that sex is a matter of biology, and that trans women will be banned from female wards. It also has a photo of the Duchess of Edinburgh. That picture is taken in Edinburgh in Ukraine. Ooh, we are doing well this morning, aren't we? Aren't we? Giving a lot of opinion. The Sun. Oh, now this one is rather a good one. The Sun backs calls to give George Cross to student who died trying to save her pal. Amazing Grace is the headline. The Sun has the headline Amazing Grace. The paper is calling for Grace O'Malley Kumar to be awarded the George Cross for attempting to fight Valdo Callaghan when he attacked her friend Barnaby Webber in June. Grace and Barnaby, both 19, were killed in the attack. And so she should. It was an act of bravery for which she gave her life. The Eye. Well, it's got a banner headline which refers to to the Labour leader quitting. It says Labour is plotting to sweep Scotland after the SNP implosion. Well, I suppose it couldn't have happened at a better time. PIP disability benefits could be cut using the new system with 6 tiers. The Eye leads with a story about how ministers are considering replacing personal independence payments with a new 6-tier system of disability benefits that it says would see many receiving less money. Well, the government is quite dreadful in trying to anytime that it can shave a penny here and a penny there, it will. And what does it mean? That they're going to cut some of the PIP benefits? Well, nobody knows until they do it. And then it's too late. It'll take ages to claw it back, and people will lose some of their benefits. Not really a good thing. The Daily Express. Hunt. Tax cuts are priority. Now Jeremy has got the bit between his teeth on taxes, and he's the man most influential for cutting them. And he says that I mean, not really such a good reason, but what he says is that if you want to get elected, Tories, you're going to have to find a way to cut tax benefits. You cut taxes, you've got to cut some benefits. PIP, personal independence payments, is one of their top priorities. The Daily Star, what has that got in the frame for us? Creepy jets kill 18 billion slugs, he says. And the slug-hugging Star has a story about Jeremy Clarkson, beer in hand, reportedly saying he wants to kill quite a few of the creatures. Well, that's a run through of the front pages of the papers. We'll take a little closer look at one or two in a moment. But one of the things about Parkinson's is it gives you a dry mouth. And mine is getting dry. We'll see if I can get a moment or two to set it out. Oh, somebody's been busy tampering with some of my good old standbys. I wonder who that could have been. I did that by accident, but it did give me just a little moment to get my mouth in order. Oh dear. I suppose really we mustn't go without taking a little closer look at the Scottish Nat leader quitting. The Times, in both its Scottish and English editions, it says the Scottish National Party faces a bitter leadership contest, which bolsters Sir Keir Starmer's hopes of becoming Prime Minister. Right, so the Scottish National Party is not going to split the vote. It's going to plump down on behalf of some of the other parties that will boost Labour. On its front page, the Daily Record predicts a brutal battle for Bute House between the former Deputy Leader John Swinney and the former Finance Secretary Kate Forbes. The paper's political editor describes Mr. Yousaf at his resignation news conference as a broken man. Ooh. Well, I suppose really that we are absolute disaster is going to have to befall Labour for it not to form the next government. Whether it'll have a huge majority, I hope not, because without plumping for any political preference, the one thing that is not healthy for any country is where the government has so many seats in Parliament that it can more or less do anything, because then is when the tail begins to wag the dog. But that looks as if it might happen, unless the electorate are sensible, which they never are. We've got, oh dear, we've got a whole host of crises just as we're coming up to a general election. Oh dear. Right, we now is 8:54. Let me just remind you about who is on the, and I keep on wanting to say team, but it's such a trite phrase, is team this, team that, team the other. Jesus, can we ever escape team? But, on a Monday, we start off with a little comment, and then the news headlines read by Philip had a senior moment again. Meredith. I wanted to say emeritus, and indeed he is emeritus. He is a barrister extraordinary, now retired, but he behaves in a very mature way and is able to make sensible comment, not the emotional comment that we get from both politicians and normal people in the street, but sensible and mature comment. And he is followed by me and rabbiting on. And Harry Atherton comes up. And Harry is a very straightforward speaking, interesting man, let's put it that way. And he puts a spin on it that hasn't been heard, a spin of honesty that hasn't been heard. God only knows how long. Then, quite often, you've got Liza Page, who presents the alternative view and who's got knocked off a couple of the social media channels quite unjustly. She is only saying what she says publicly and does not slander, libel, or in any other way the powers that be. They should leave her alone. Then we have the next day, John Prideaux. And John is an expert in artificial intelligence. What have we got to worry about? Because there's no question we've got stuff to worry about. But what should we, as a general rule, watch out for? So those are the people early in the day. What I think we're going to do now is going to take a 5-minute break. And just take a quick look at other things that are exercising people's minds. All right, let's say toodle pip for a moment. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.